We got the hostile takeover bid from Paramount. It does top Netflix's offer. I thought this was a done deal.
Not necessarily. Actually, it does not top Netflix's offer because in the Netflix offer, they're spinning off the cable assets, right? So they're not getting the CNN that Trump probably wouldn't want them to have.
Yeah, they're both saying that they have the higher offer, and it depends on how you value those cable networks.
Is there a deal that's better, that's preferred, Felix? Let's start with you, and one more likely to get regulatory clearance?
I mean, they're both saying that they both, they're pointing at the finger at the other, saying, oh, that will never get regulatory approval. Paramount is saying essentially that, Netflix has over 300 million paying subscribers. If you combine it with HBO Max, you're going to have over 400 million. It's too much concentrated power in the streaming competition. They have a lot more. So that's Netflix's argument, is that it's not just, the competition isn't just between streaming networks at this point. It's competing for people's attention in the living room, which includes things like YouTube, TikTok. And in that world, they don't control that much attention share.
Which is a fun argument, but I mean, if this were just a technocratic DOJ decision, they try to take the narrowest view possible. So they're not going to include YouTube and TikTok, even if, Carol, you spend a lot of time consuming content on those things. Yeah, but so do I. In fact, I often choose it over Netflix, Prime, and HBO, but that's not how the DOJ traditionally views these kind of things.
Well,
so,
Geetha, how do they view it? And what's more likely to get done? What makes more sense? Or, listen, we're going to be talking about this in the new year.
Yeah, it's really anybody's guess right now, Carol. So traditionally, yes, they have taken the most narrowest definition possible. But I think the government also realizes that this whole video marketplace is rapidly changing. I mean, Netflix has been the biggest disruptor of the video marketplace to begin with. It's streaming disrupted traditional TV. Now, what Netflix is worried about, and this is how a lot of investors are kind of viewing this deal, is does Netflix actually think that they can be disrupted by short form entertainment? And that's exactly the point that, Felix was bringing up. Do we have to broaden the market? And, people will argue, yes, we do, because if you kind of look at just share of online video viewing, Netflix and HBO Max combined actually have a lower viewing share than the dominant force, which is YouTube.
I got my math, by the way, from you this morning, Geetha. So Geetha pointed out that the Netflix bid is $27.75, plus you add about $4, which you'll get for the spinoff of the cable assets. It gets you to basically $32. Okay. That's a little bit above Paramount. But Geetha, if Warner Brothers Discovery, because David Zaslav wants to get as much money as he can, right? If they somehow get broken up with by the FTC or the DOJ or whatever, and they get the $5.8 billion from Netflix, and then do the Paramount deal, which it seems like President Trump would be much more in favor of, does that end up giving them more money than anything else?
It absolutely does. And, this whole bidding war, I mean, the one person who's really enjoying this, I think, should be David Zaslav and, the Warner Brothers Discovery Board. I mean, we started, Matt, at $12. That was, on September 12th. And this is where we've ended up. I think the big worry today, and especially as you kind of see the Netflix stock trading, is Netflix really going to be forced to come in with $30 a share? Because you just kind of look at the optics of the deal. Paramount seemingly having the better offer, although the deals are different. But just for a first look, it looks like they do have the better offer. So I think investors are really concerned right now about whether Netflix will have to bid up. And that's an even better situation for David Zaslav. So he's laughing, all the way to the bank here.